on speaking. I want to make it a dual class, speaking and writing combined, but we'll be doing speaking for most of the time. And Bhavesh, as suggested by you, I have my video on because you said that, ma'am, if you will have your video on, students will not be afraid of you. Right? And then I said that all students should also have their video, but nobody is having their video on. All right, so we'll begin the speaking. I'll be asking one question to everyone. This is a sort of follow-up question. These are the type of questions which are asked in the follow-up when you get a cue card. And while doing this, everybody should speak for half a minute or to 1 minute as an answer. Okay, when I give you the chance to speak. So who'd like to come in, pitch in number one?
Ma'am, may I?
All right. So my question to you is, what do you understand by the term telecommuting, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of telecommuting?
I have heard this term for the very first time.
Anybody who has not heard it for the first time, I would like to answer. Pooja? Nafise, I expected you to be knowing this. What is telecommuting, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of telecommuting?
If I'm not wrong, I think telecommunication is like work from home.
It is not telecommunication. Listen to what I'm saying. It's telecommuting, and it is work from home, but it is telecommuting, not telecommunicating. All right. So there's a difference. Commuters. What are commuters? You say daily commuters. What do you understand by the term commuters?
Daily going for working.
Yes, people who daily travel for work, they are daily commuters. All right. So when people are daily commuters, then what happens? And telecommuting is a term when when you don't travel for work, but the work travels to you. Through what? You are sitting at your home. The work is traveling to you. So that is why it is called telecommuting. And telecommuting and the work is traveling through telephone lines. And what are these telephone lines? Internet. You know, na? That much. Right? So what is telecommuting? Working from home with the help of telephone lines. Telecommuting, right? Now tell me the advantages and disadvantages. Okay, one of you will speak the advantages, the other one will speak the disadvantages. Surinder, what are the advantages of telecommuting, that is working from home?
The first benefit is like one, it increases the productivity. One, it saves the time, as well as the bonding with the family is like strengthened.
All right. So you have to speak for half a minute to 1 minute. I think this is 10-12 minutes.
For example, had my friend not worked from his home, of the work related to his work, he would not have developed a proper bond with his family.
Anybody else would like to answer?
Ma'am, it will reduce the cost of commuting. I mean, the
Yes,
transportation.
yes. So it
reduce-
saves money because
Yes.
there is no money spent on traveling and no money spent on, petrol, diesel, or even the fares. Okay. It
Yes.
also saves time because you don't have to get ready to go to work. You just have to sit on your computer system at sharp 8 or 9, whatever the office timing is, and you have to be there till 5 p.m. Right? No time is lost coming and going to the office and getting ready. All right. So, and another advantage is that when you have minor family commitment means there's a sick person at home and you have to just give him medicine at 11 a.m., say, and 2 p.m. Otherwise, you would have to take a leave for even this much work. But when you are doing telecommuting, you can tell your boss who is connected to you through the telephone line that you will be right back, right? And take a couple of minutes off for this work. Is it clear? So
Yes,
these are the advantages. What are the advantages to the employer? Anybody?
It reduces the cost of maintenance.
Very good. You don't have to make big offices, and you can have an employee base of about 5,000 with just a small room where you are, few people are sitting and they are managing everyone who's working from home, right? Another advantage, the cost of maintenance of the huge building, the AC bills, so many other bills, and even the land prices are exorbitant. If you have to purchase an office on rent, it is very high. So there are advantages to the employer also. One big advantage is that the employer can hire any talented person from any corner of the world. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the advantages of telecommuting to the, you can say, employer and to the employee both. Okay. There is another advantage of telecommuting, and that is to the environment. Okay. And environment ko kya benefit hai? Environment ko benefit hai that um, uh, there is no, because there are less cars or vehicles on the road because people don't have to go. So there is, less pollution. Are the points clear to you?
And madam, chances of less accidents,
Of
road
course.
traffic accidents will be.
Yes, of course, that is also a point. So there are advantages to the employee, advantages to the employer, advantages to the environment. Now let's talk about disadvantages, Bhavesh. What are the disadvantages of telecommuting? Of course, there are disadvantages also.
Yes, ma'am. There are several disadvantages of communicating. Like if you are the face-to-face interaction would not be possible, and the boss or the manager could not like have a proper communication system with its employee, and that gap will leads to an social anxiety. Like we cannot, if we are bounded to our homes and we are working from the home, so like our social skills and our social interactions with our friends and our companions would be less, so it will feel like so like weird, I guess.
Yes, that's a good answer. The main disadvantage is that just the way we did advantages to the employee, advantages to the employer, and advantages to the environment. Environment, there are no disadvantages, but yes, there are disadvantages to the employee and the employer. And you can write like to the employee that disadvantages are that you have to reserve a space in the home, a corner in the home for office work. You just cannot sit on your bed and do an 8-hour job every day, right? So, and that sometimes creates tensions. And when there are, children at home or siblings at home, they don't let you work, then there are further tensions at home, right? So these are the disadvantages. Third disadvantage is that when you said na that the face-to-face interaction is less, there you must say that office, atmosphere is missing. In an office, so many people are working. You see everyone work, you also work with loyalty. But at home, you seem alone. That office environment which keeps you going, that is not there. Got it? And so sometimes it becomes very boring.
And ma'am,
Yes.
yes, ma'am, sorry for the introduction. I must say I just left one point. The major point was the weak internet connection, because we are living in the different parts of the
Yes.
country where the
Yes.
internet service is not that
Yes.
much
So
portable.
where,
But
yes.
at the office area, it would be so far.
So if the internet connection is lost, the whole work comes to a standstill. Okay. So that is, of course, one big disadvantage, right? And there are disadvantages to the employer. What are the disadvantages? You know, when people are working right in front of you, they will do things to like not work and shirk work and just put a face that they are working, but actually they are not. And it's very difficult to monitor people. So it's very difficult to monitor people who are not actually present there. Okay, so it's very difficult to monitor the workers who are working through telecommuting. All right, so that is one disadvantage. All right, so this is one, and this, believe me, these questions are asked in the exam. And these are follow-up questions. You have to speak 3, 4, 5 sentence, 6 sentence long answers for them. They will last 20 seconds to 30, 40 seconds at time and at times. And the examiner listens to you, believe me. If you have things to say, the examiner listens to you. You can create an impact. Okay. Now let me ask the second question of the day. This was the first question. I can see that only 7 students are there in the class. So I don't mind that. Uh, I don't know the reason. See, I have put up the message, right? You all got the message, didn't you?
Yes,
Anyway,
ma'am.
anyways, so the next question to me is, what do you understand by the term gap year, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of a gap year? So Harjot, would you like to answer? This is your question. What do you understand by the term gap year, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of gap year?
Ma'am, may I
Yes. All right.
taking a year off after the education or after graduating
Not after
from
graduating,
is
after
the
school and before going to college or university. Okay. Taking a year off after completing
okay.
secondary school and before going to college or university, not after graduating. That is not a gap year. Okay. Well, you may take a gap at any time of your career or studies,
Okay.
but actual gap year concept is what is taken after +2 before going to college or university. In the Western countries, still your schooling is literally free. And when you go to college, the fee structure is exorbitant of certain colleges. So many students, this thing has been going there for the last 40, 50 years, that many students then take a year off. They don't go for higher education. They take a year off. They work in some place, earn that money, and then pay their fees of college or university, which is exorbitantly high at times. Okay. So that is the concept of a gap year. I hope the concept is clear. What is a gap year? We do
Yes,
have a question. What are the advantages and disadvantages of a gap year? So who will say the answer? Who will speak?
advantages, ma'am. One gets financially stable. One can just like earn the wages from doing any sort of work, as well as one gets new experience. One can develop vocational skills that can be helpful in the career. And the drawbacks are one get distracted away from the study and loses interest in the studies, and there are chances to get enrolled in a bad companies, and one gets habitual of taking drugs with the co-workers.
All right. So these are the advantages, but not the complete advantages. First, you have to know the concept of a gap year. Gap year is very planned. It is not just ki +2, after +2, your parents say, okay, son or okay, daughter, take a year off. You can just work or do anything you want. And that is not like that. It is planned. It is very, very well planned. Before even completion of school, the parents and the child who have to take a gap year, they start planning for it, looking for jobs which the child can do, or two things the children can do during the gap year. One is work and second is travel. Okay. So people who can afford, they send their children for, traveling to different countries so that they become smart. And the main advantage, Surinder, of a gap year is not, it is, of course, money is one point, but the main advantage is that during the gap year, the person can introspect means अपने अंदर झांक के देख सकते हैं कि उनकी क्या, what they want in life, what subject to choose as their major. Secondary school is over at the age of 17 or 18, and that is a very tender age. Many of the students, many of you also might have done this, कि दोस्त कॉमर्स ले रहा है, मैं भी कॉमर्स ले रहा हूँ, वो नॉन मेड ले रहा है, मैं भी नॉन मेड ले रहा हूँ, ऐसे होता है, right? So when a student takes a year off, they come to know what their real interests are. They get a chance to introspect. They get to know what their real interests are. And then, if they travel, they meet different people, they develop a network, and if they work, they even save money. So like that, you can say. There is another essay on gap year. And that essay is that during a gap year, a student can either work or travel. Out of these two approaches, which is better? Now, that is a direct question essay. You have to say which approach is better, traveling or working. So, what would you say is better? What would you say is better?
Working.
You can say working, you can say traveling, both, but traveling is costly. Only those parents can afford it who have the resources to send their child to, different countries. Otherwise, it's working. Working is for better for most of the people, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this was gap year. Now I come to another question. Okay. What are the advantages and disadvantages of rote learning? What's rote learning?
Rote learning is like memorizing without understanding the concept.
Cramming things. That is rote learning. So
Yeah.
rote learning, in many educational systems, rote learning is a way in which students take the exam and pass. And what are the positives and negatives of this rote learning?
Ma'am, I would like to say about the positive terms.
Yes, positives are, Bhavesh, yes.
Ma'am, there are like several benefits of it. Like there are some fields like medical and the engineering where we need to understand and memorize such like written works and the theories. So it will help us a lot in it. And when we read it and when we cram it perfectly, then it also help us like in the examinations, and it is better because we do not need to understand the theories to like and their concept. It's all about like whatever have been written and it have been practiced for the several years, so we have to go through this particularly, I think.
All right. So rote learning, it is the only method in certain situations. For example, if you have to do irregular verbs, okay, go, went, gone. Is there any funda in it? ED laga do ho gaya. Second form, third form, irregular verbs, buy, bought, seek, sought. Play, played. That is correct. That is not irregular. That's a regular verb. So irregular verbs, there is no way. There is no funda. The only way is rote learning. Okay. Second advantage is good to pass exams. And the third advantage of rote learning is that, it makes you getting good grades. You can do the exams better. And so any other point which is coming to your mind, what are the advantages of rote learning?
Madam, certain formulas in mathematics without rote memorization we cannot remember or recollect while the examination.
Yes. So that is the point. It is very difficult to reproduce in the exam what you have learned, unless you have learned it well, unless you have crammed it well. Okay?
Madam, specifically the mathematical formulas are there,
Yes,
sin
mathematical
theta, cos
formulae you
theta.
have to, yes,
Here,
you have to cram. Otherwise, you can't remember. There's no logic behind them to remember. You have to cram. Okay? Mathematical formulae, the alphabets of foreign languages, you have to cram first in the first place. Okay? So we have done rote learning. What are the disadvantages of rote learning? Chalo, disadvantages are left. No, nobody wants to say the disadvantages?
Ma'am, can I?
Yes, of course.
Like there are many disadvantages of rote learning. I would like to mention two disadvantages. The first one is it become boring. Like
Very good.
sometimes,
Yes.
sometimes we sometimes we can experience in the schools children they bored with the study without
They
practicals.
get bored of studies. Okay. So
They
that-
can okay.
Mm.
And it also it doesn't inspire people to use their social skills.
And secondly, you know, one big disadvantage is what you learn by rote. You cannot apply in other things. For example,
Mm.
you've done something by rote. There are, you know, subjects which are interlinked. You know, even mathematics and what you say, software development, it's interlinked. Those who are any software developer here will know. Mathematics and history are interlinked. What you learn in mathematics, can you apply the same concept in chemistry if you have learned by rote?
No, that is impossible.
Like what you learn in biology, can you apply in chemistry if you've learned it by rote? No. So transferability of knowledge is less if you are doing rote learning. You cannot apply one thing in the other. So that remains restricted to that only. And secondly, what you learn by rote is forgotten very soon. It's forgotten very soon. Okay. So these are the disadvantages of rote. And so meaningful learning is better than rote learning. Okay. It reminds me of an incident when I was in the +2. And well, I was a big crammer. Okay. But I used to cram with understanding. There was a girl sitting in front of me and she was moving like this, and she was going on speaking something. So I just did like this and I wanted to hear what she was saying. So she was, the king said, comma. I said, okay, okay. So she's reading something and the king said, comma, where are you going, Kundabindi? So do you know what is comma, Kundabindi? She was learning even the punctuation marks. My God, I cannot remember that. It's a true thing which happened with me. And then I came and told home that I am doing rote learning, but I'm not doing to that extent what other people do. You know, they even learn the full stops and the commas and the question marks. So so that is it. This became a joke in our house later on. Anyways, so next question to you. Who'd come up to answer? Honey, you are here, right? These are follow-up questions. You should know. Will you speak or not?
Yeah.
All right. So we've done rote learning, we've done gap year, we've done telecommuting. And what else have we done today? One more topic, right? Telecommuting, gap year, rote learning. All right. So I'd like to ask you, is it better to invite foreign companies to open offices in your country, or is it better to promote local companies? So in a way, I'm asking you, what are the advantages and disadvantages of MNCs? All right.
Yeah. While there are number of advantages of inviting MNC in
What are the advantages? Yes, very good.
the
Firstly, not clear. Audio is not clear. Somebody else? Anybody else? Amol, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So would you like to answer the advantages of MNCs, multinational companies?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
There are many multinational companies uh, are working in our country, but I personally think that in spite of giving chance to foreign companies, the native people should get the chance to work. As we know that we are in the developing state. So in spite of giving the other chance, we should develop ourselves. So I just uh,
So basically, you're saying that MNCs should not be invited. So here you should talk about the disadvantages of MNCs. Okay?
okay, ma'am.
Talk about some disadvantages. What are the disadvantages?
So as we know that, as I said, we are in developing state. So if first of all we should give priority to our nation, and people from our country.
That I understood, that you have said that we should promote local industries, domestic industries. But you know why? So you have to talk about the disadvantages of MNCs. So what would be the first disadvantage that comes to your mind?
Uh, uh, and, um, because native peoples we will not get the motivation to work if the foreign companies will come in our country. And no, I'm not getting the thoughts.
Huh.
Can I
Okay.
try?
Yes,
Somewhere I got stuck.
yes.
Okay.
Who would like to try? Bhavesh? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, MNCs are the corporations who are working in the host country from another country, and when the revenue generated, they send their revenue to their home countries, and they
So this is
use
the big disadvantage. Your country is not developing.
yes,
Whatever
yes.
they are earning, they are taking back to their own country. Very good. Yes.
And my second point is like they are using our all resources at the cheap prices, and they are not giving that much amount of worth to the people who.
Okay. No, I'll explain it in a better way. See, first we'll do the advantages, and the same advantage, the same point, the people who are opposed to multinational companies will put as a disadvantage. So the first advantage, what I can think of is economy. When multinational companies open in any other country, they provide employment, right? Which improves the lifestyle of people. They start earning, they pay taxes, and even these companies pay taxes, so they improve the economy. But Bhavesh has put up the same point as a disadvantage, and which can be very rightly done. They are actually opening their offices in our country for their own benefit, not for our benefit. Whatever they are paying our employees is much less than what they have to pay in their own country. So, in fact, they are exploiting our people. So, see, the same point I used as a positive and the same point I'm using as a negative. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And the second advantage of MNCs is that they bring more choices. And those who are for MNCs will say, oh, they are making things. You can see earlier we had only two brands of televisions, Beltec and Texla. Today we have whatnots. You know, they have their opening houses, assembly lines in India now. And so we have LG, Sony, Panasonic. What else? You can name so many other foreign brands of televisions. Okay. Then you can even talk of brands of shoes. We had only Bata and Corona, but today we have Reebok, Nike, Adidas. So they bring choices to people, MNCs. But those who are opposed to the multinational companies, they'll put up the same point as a negative. You know, when multinational companies open in any country, in any developing country, the local businessman cannot compete with these international giants. सपोजिंग एक बंदा इंडिया में रैली में जीन्स मैन्युफैक्चर करता है, उसकी जीन्स काफी अच्छी बिकती है, फिर नाइके और फिर ये लिवाइस का ऑफिस खुल जाता है दिल्ली में, सबको लिवाइस मिलने लग जाती हैं, तो लोग उसकी जीन्स नहीं खरीदेंगे ना, और वो इतना कंपटीशन झेल भी नहीं पाएगा. व्हाट विल हैपन? दैट स्टोर विल शट डाउन. गॉट माय पॉइंट? So the local businesses are dying out. Local businessman is dying out. Is the point clear now?
Yes.
See, all of you students who are there, the same questions are there in the writing, the same questions are there in the speaking. When you are doing speaking and you are doing that well, when you get any question in front of you and you have all the points for that, won't it help you in writing? We are having a speaking class today. For speaking, you have to confidently speak the points. No? They should be clear in your mind. So when you are doing something for speaking, you are also doing that thing for the writing part, right? So if the points like that are clear to you, that okay, those who are for MNCs will say it boosts economy, those who are against will say it's exploiting our people by paying them much less. Those who are for MNCs will say they're bringing in more choices. Those who are against MNCs will say, well, the local businessman is dying out, and he'll give his own examples, right? So these are the points. This is how you have to speak. For speaking, these many points are more than enough. But for writing, you may need a couple more and go through the essays nicely. Okay. All right. Now another question I'm going to ask. Who wants to come forward before listening to the question?
I think it will depend upon the question, what kind of question you're asking.
But see, you should, when you do go for speaking, even if you don't know ABC of the question, let's say you don't know ABC of the question, you don't know it at all, still you have to speak. Okay? Because if you'll be silent, the whole hard work gone of 2-3 months which you have put in. You have to speak. All right? All right, let's see. Is teaching a foreign language to primary school students better, or is teaching it to secondary school student better? First time, like, if should a foreign language be introduced to primary school children, or should it be introduced to a secondary school children? Who is going to answer this now? I have taken up very varied topics today. They are not at all like I'm going after only education or only job or, like that.
Ma'am, it is better to teach a foreign language to the primary school children because this is a scientific logical. So if the children are taught basics from the tender age, they will learn and master the language more easily as compared to the senior citizen and the students of the secondary school, because their grasping power is more as compared to the older children.
All right. So one point is grasping power, and Surinda, you're doing a good job. You're answering very well. Okay. Small children, little children, primary school children are not afraid of making mistakes. थोड़ा बड़ा हो जाते हैं ना, तो hesitation set up हो जाती है. So young children don't hesitate. So it is better to teach foreign language to primary school than to secondary school. Is that point clear? All right. So what other point you can say? What other point that comes to your mind?
Ma'am, about the advantage or the disadvantage of that?
Well, is it better to teach foreign language to primary school children or to secondary school children?
Okay. I think it's better to teach primary school children foreign language because they are in the lower age, are able to grasp the concept much easily than the secondary school one. Besides, they can even learn from the basics, the simple things, so they won't be demotivated by learning basic things, like suppose learning colors.
What are the disadvantages of teaching foreign language to primary school students?
I think this can be that is also can be a kind of like disadvantage, because if the method of teaching is not correct, so the primary school children are going to be like scared of the topic, or they are going to actually be scared of the topic, or they are not going to learn very well, or they will be demotivated to learn and they won't like the topic from beginning.
Yes, and they already have a burden of so many subjects, right? And the school bag is heavier than the weight of the child itself, nursery, lower KG, first standard, if you see.
And ma'am, they will get away from their culture and roots also.
All right. Now, Surinder, thank God you've brought up this point. In this essay, please don't digress by writing the advantages and disadvantages of learning a foreign language. Whether you learn a foreign language in primary school or in secondary school, the disadvantages, like the one Surinder has just said, are the same. We are comparing teaching a foreign language in primary school and teaching it in secondary school. So only 2 points, that is their grasping power is better and they are not afraid of making mistakes, as the positives. And negatives are that already too much burden of other subjects. So why add one more? They can learn it in secondary school. They'll be little grown up, then they'll have, they will be able to grasp better, right? All right. So there's a question. Let's see what that is. What is the right meaning of adults? Adults are anybody above 18 are adults. Anybody. So this essay can be, is teaching a foreign language to primary school children better or adults better? Adults, school children may to primary, secondary, they're not differentiating. So the same points, there'll be less hesitation, they'll grasp it more. And to adults, when they say that adults, then that means that adults have a motivation to learn. So it's better if you have to say. It's a discuss essay which is there in the GT book. Some people say teaching a foreign language to adults is better. There the point is that adults have a motivation. Supposing I tell you, you are doing learning, this English for IELTS exam. You want to crack it, you want to go to Canada. Supposing I tell you that if you go to Montreal, and if you know French, then you'll straight away get a job and you'll have very quick PR over there. You have a motivation. So when you learn it with a motivation behind you, will you learn it better or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, and secondly, the adults have their own language to compare. Okay, they have their own language to compare. By comparison, learning becomes better. All right. So that is the point. That is the point. All right. So this was one point. All right. Let's talk about advantages and disadvantages of media. Who will talk about the advantages of media?
Ma'am, one gets the quick information that what is happening around the world.
So for
And
media, I have 5 points. 5 points. Have you attended that class in which I have pointed out the 5 points, advantages of media?
no,
All right.
ma'am.
So first
Watchdog
point-
over,
first
ma'am,
point,
economy.
inform and provide knowledge. Okay, give knowledge and inform. Second is entertain. Third is media is a link between the government and the people. Fourth is media shapes our opinions. Fifth is media provides justice. Okay, so let's see who can reproduce the 5 points, the advantages of media. Fawzia, will you try? Harjot, will you try? Darinder, will you try?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes.
Media provide information and knowledge. Media
Yes.
provide entertainment.
Yes.
Media is between government and the people.
Yes.
Media shapes people's opinion.
Yes.
Media helps to provide justice.
Very good. So if you have these 5 points, now any essay on media comes, can you write around that point, these points?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can expand on them. The whole essay is done. And the same points you can write negatively also. So media informs, and if media is informing wrongly, then what happens?
Controversies.
Media entertains. If media is showing violence and vulgarity in the name of entertainment, what happens?
Chaos will happen. And
Yes. Third point was media shapes people's opinions. If the media is biased towards a political party, can the people's opinion be also biased towards that party?
of course, yes,
Okay,
because
so
media misled the
see,
masses. And,
if you just
yes,
listen to that
yes.
story a few years back, that Arushi murder case, media started saying parents are the murderers and they've done honor killing, and everybody started saying parents are the murderers. And then it came to be known that the servant was the murderer, and he was like, so everyone started, bichare parents, they are put in jail. So media shapes our opinions. So whatever media says, we tend to believe that, right? Media is a link between the government and the people. How many of us directly go and meet any minister for what he has done or what he has not done? Hardly anybody. Media reaches the voice of the people to the government, and what the government is doing comes to the people, is known to the people through the media, right? Okay. And justice, you can give examples. In the Jessica murder case, the file was closed because a VIP's son was involved, but media brought the case open again and helped in providing justice to the family of the deceased, the person who had died. All right. So this was about media. And media negatives, you can again say there is this checkbook journalism. Have you heard that? Checkbook journalism, gutter press, all these are negatives. Checkbook journalism, you take money and you are, posting wrong news, or you're hiding news by taking money. And gutter press, gutter is ganda nala, gutter press, when you do things, that
In
is
Pakistan, we call it in a deep pockets. So like the hidden interest of the media, and they like the powerful people who use the media for their own interest. So we call that media the deep interest media, like deep pockets interest in media.
deep pockets. Okay. So I've learned that new word today. So this is it. This is how you can write about the positives and negatives of the same thing in the different ways. All right. Okay. What other topic? I was just thinking whatever topic comes to my mind, I'll just pick it up randomly. All right. Okay. Tell me the advantages and disadvantages of unpaid internships. What is unpaid internship? First, you tell me, what do you understand by the term unpaid internship?
It's a period of time
Voluntary work.
after their education, join a company and try to learn the work and
Without getting any pay, right? Unpaid internship. And this is arranged by colleges most of the time, but the students may have to themselves arrange. If you are doing engineering, there is 6 months of unpaid internship once, one whole sem, and sometimes there is 2 month unpaid internship in the third year also. Okay. So this is unpaid internship. What are the advantages and disadvantages of unpaid internship? Advantages first, Nafise. What are the advantages?
So the person who graduated recently can learn and learn the basic of the work, can get experience by working in the company without even paying something, because sometimes even learning work also costs us some money. That is why.
Very good way to put it. Very good. These are 8-band answers you are giving, Nafise, today.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else would you like to add? The way you are expanding, that is what is needed. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
Internship, yeah, in the time that we are doing internship, we get opportunity to meet some other experienced people and get contact with other companies. Maybe we can get a chance to get a better job opportunity and even job offer from other places if the people or the employers see that we are working dedicatedly and we are sincere in our job.
Very good. So what are the disadvantages of unpaid internship? The essay is somewhat like this, that some people say these children should be paid, these students should be paid, and some people say they should work free of cost. So those who say they should be paid, why do they want them to be paid? So that would be disadvantage of unpaid internship. Why do they want to be, why should they be paid? Why do some people feel that they should be paid?
Because they spend their time and energy on that work, so they believe that they have to at least get the minimum payment for commuting, for spending their time, and for at least for getting the minimum amounts or wage that they needed for their daily expenses.
Very good. So basically, when children are working, they already have stress and they have to manage time between the other studies and work, because this is not yet studies completed. This is unpaid internship. After this, only they get the degree of their, work and all of their education. And they need money for their personal things, and they are spending going to that company, staying there and learning work. So little bit should be there for the children. Otherwise, the stress level increases. That is the main disadvantage. Okay. All right. So we can have one more. Let me just see which topic. Okay, what are the advantages and disadvantages of animal experimentation? Some people say animals, there should be animal experimentation. Other people say animal experimentation should not be there. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of animal experimentation? Let's see this last topic. Why do some people say there should be animal experimentation? Why do some people say there should not be any animal experimentation? Yes. Bolo? Nobody wants to say? All right. So first point for animal experimentation is that whenever any drug has to be administered on humans, it should first be tested on animals, because then the side effects will be known, and there will be a lot of loss of human life or human suffering, which can be prevented if an experimentation is done first. So here you can add one example. That example I learned when I was in the medical college. There's a drug called thalidomide. Thalidomide is now used for one type of blood cancer, and it's 100% curable with that drug. But in 1952, this drug was administered for vomiting of pregnancy, especially in the developed countries like, UK and all. And many children were born with seal-like limbs. Do you know what are seal-like limbs? Like you can say people were born without limbs. The hands were here, attached here, and the feet at the hips. There were no legs, there were no arms. These are seal-like limbs. By the time it was known that this drug is the culprit, because this was administered, this was really good for vomiting of pregnancy. By the time it was known that this drug is the culprit, many children had been born, and many of them are still alive today. And you can imagine the life they must have led, right? So this is one advantage why it should be done, that it should first be tested on animals before administering to humans. Second advantage of animal experimentation is, supposing you have to see the effect of any drug over generations. आपको देखना है कि ये ड्रग मैंने आज इसको दी, इसके आगे की पुश्तों में किस लेवल तक इस ड्रग का असर जाएगा. If you want to see the effect of any drug over generations, then animals जिनका लाइफ स्पैन 3-4 साल है, जैसे कि गिनी पिग है. गिनी पिग is only 3-4 years lifespan. So it is possible on those animals. Seeing the effect of any drug over generations is not possible on humans. Got it? This is a point which you will not be able to write unless you know about it. I hope it is clear. I can expand on it and explain you further if you think not yet reproducible in the exam.
Ma'am, I can add one more point.
Yes.
So one of the advantages of that is, if we have to we have to study on like a number of candidates. I mean, like more than 1,000, 2,000. Sometimes some of the animals can produce at the same time a lot of eggs or a lot of offsprings. So it can be possible in the shortest amount of time.
Yes. Yes, very good point. Yes. All right. Can we? It is basically again that their lifespan is less, and they reproduce in multiples, like not like humans that one child is born after 9 months. They can, these animals can reproduce very fast, right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. So I can give an example of a model, genetic model, which is used in medical studies, which is called zebrafish. Zebrafish is a kind of fish which is actually a model for cancer and some other kind of chronic diseases.
Oh, wow.
So yes, and even for neuroscience is also very helpful. So for like in each time they can lay like more than 500 or even about 1,000 eggs.
Very good. This is a very, very good example. And Nafisa, the way you are answering, the examiner will be listening to you, believe me. And you will not get less than an 8.5 in speaking. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good. So what are the disadvantages? Why are people against animal experimentation? You should know those points also. Why some people are against animal because they say animals are not humans. What effect you see in animals may not be the same on humans, right? That is their point. Okay. Second point they say is animals are sentient beings. They feel pleasure and pain. Why are you disturbing them for experimentation when you have computer simulated experiments? You know what are computer simulated experiments? They will be just happening on computer. They will actually mimic the real experiments. So your technology is so advanced today. You have computer simulated experiments. So what is the need of troubling animals for that? That is what they say. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And the next point they say is that ek to ho gaya ki they are not humans. The second is they are sentient beings, and you have third point is that there are computer simulated experiments. So 3 points for, 3 points against. You can make an essay either way. Got it? For speaking only one-sided you can speak, but for an essay you need to have the point for the other side also. All right. So this was my class for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was different from the other classes which I've been taking routinely.
It was great, ma'am. Thank you very much. It was really helpful for writing and speaking both.
Both, yes, for both. That was the aim. All right. All right. See you. Bye.